Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the full moon in Aquarius, when push turns to shove, secret code name readings. The secret code names are BabaYaga, the Dresden Files, Glinda, Strawberry Shortcake, Krampus's Henchmen, Dream On, Fraggle Rock, and Crysta. If any of those secret code names jumped out at you and you got a little ping, chances are there is a message in there for you. For those of you who do not know how the secret code name readings work, they are purchased by individuals in my Etsy shop. It is their personal readings. The beauty of them is that anybody can resonate to the secret code names. We're all connected in this divine soul family of ours. And chances are, if you are drawn to one of their secret code names, there's a message in there for you. So there will be timestamps after the live is over so that you guys can hop, skip, and jump around to whatever reading or readings you are drawn to. Hey Rita, how you doing? Now, I did try my damnedest to take a nap because I've been up since 3:30 this morning. So I am on hour 17 being awake. I tried to take a nap and my brain just started braining and my alarm went off before I fell asleep. So Spirit has me in this lovely place between the waking world and the dreaming world, which is why I'm off camera, because we're not going to watch me yawn. We're just not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Spirit wants me on that fine line, so be it. Now, this full moon, okay, the energies are intense. I'm just going to give you guys a quick breakdown. I've got my chart pulled up on my phone here. That's what it looks like. We've got some major integrations going on and some damn near cross energy. So you're welcome, Rita. You're welcome. Thanks, Spirit. It has me do what I do. So, yeah, there's quite a bit going on with the chart. Big facet of it is Venus and Jupiter coming into conjunction right near the star Sirius, and Sirius is in the constellation Canis Major. It is the dog, and it is truly all about loyalty. So when you have Jupiter and Venus, who are both powerful in Cancer, coming together on this star, there's a really big focus there, and it's heading into trine. That energy is heading into trine with the North Node. So as this full moon continues to develop, spiritual loyalty, deep loyalty in soul, is going to be the primary focus and where you will find your greatest blessings. Anything that would deter you from spiritual loyalty and those who are truly loyal to you in soul, you're going to find some difficulty. You're going to find some difficulty. And mostly because everything else has some kind of challenge coming to it, if not all challenges, including the sun and moon itself. There are no positive aspects to the sun and moon in opposition. They are sesquiquadrate, Saturn and Neptune, retrograding at 1 degree Aries, and they are semi-squaring the South Node. So there's a lot to unpack with this moon. I think one of the other major benefits, probably the best benefit there is the grand trine going on between Pluto, Uranus, and Mars in our air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It's really asking us to revolutionize our ability to think and analyze what fair and balanced is, what harmony is, and get clear inside of our mind and our energy the ability to think into being, to think into manifestation, to think into a place of action per divine order, right? Allowing yourself to have faith and trust in the divine, with the trine going on from Mercury to Saturn and Neptune that are both sextiling on Uranus, is creating this kind of formation in the sky with the grand trine, is asking us to really think about where our energy is, how is it reflecting in our mirror, and how do we bring it to balance, right? Where can we take control of ourselves when we can't control anybody else, and heal the self in a very divine way, a divinely dictated way? You know, when we have Saturn involved with Neptune, we can either feel like we have no time or no options when we have plenty of time, or we could feel like we have plenty of time when it's the exact opposite and windows are closing. And so, you know, depending on where you fall in these alignments, especially if you have cusp energy in the air signs or in Aries, Leo, or even Sag, because even though we don't have anything going on in Sag right now as far as like placements, if you have them natally in your birth chart, you would be popping off a 6-pointed star in your chart with the current cosmos, which is major portal energy, major healing energy as far as like the divine masculine facet of yourself goes, your ability to think and choose and take action accordingly. So there's a lot for the air signs and the fire signs that you can truly benefit from. And same goes for Cancer, right? Even Pisces could be having revelations and breakthroughs spiritually if you have significant placements around 18 degrees or even like 10 to 13 or 15 degrees Pisces. And or Scorpio, right? Because of the Jupiter energy with the North Node energy being paired with Venus right now. There's a lot. And I feel like what we're really being asked, because Pluto is creating a lot of the tension. There's a lot of benefit coming from Pluto, but there's some squares going on with Pluto as well. So Pluto in Aquarius is squaring both Chiron and Lilith, which are two wounded points in the chart where we martyr the self and abandon the self. And Pluto, if you're not focusing on your vibration and how you're manifesting what you're manifesting, it's going to feel exceptionally painful. Pluto is like that knife in the side that's just kind of slow twisting back and forth. Like, you know, are you really going to martyr yourself like this forever? Are you really going to abandon yourself to keep the peace so that you don't have to change, or so that nothing has to change because you quote unquote love something, or because you quote unquote need something financially to make it work, or because you feel like you need to be the hero or the savior? Like Pluto's like, come on, you know, like you can't. That is not the way, right? That is not the way to try and be the powerful healer for other people and not take the time to look at the self and how you're feeling, especially with all of the energy going on in Cancer. To not listen to your intuition is a big mistake. It's a big mistake, you know? And I feel like, especially as, you know, Venus and Jupiter continue to transit through Cancer, because they're going to be creating some challenging energies to Pluto. They're going to sesquiquadrate and then eventually oppose when they hit Leo, you know? And it's this place and time right now that Spirit is really giving us to reflect, because push is going to turn to shove, right? That is the theme of these secret code name readings. And it's not comfortable when Pluto is squaring on your wounds from both directions. You know, it could feel like you're drowning. It could feel like your mind is on fire. It could feel like harmony in your reality is an impossible task. And it's because it is, right? It's because it is. You can't change your reality without changing the way you perceive things. And if you're looking at things through a very logical lens and not and in a mundane way, not an esoteric way, right? A spiritual way. If you're looking at, you know, trying to solve a problem in the mundane without spiritual solution being a part of it, you're going to just hit brick wall after brick wall. And if you guys caught it in the Etsy shop, I did put up all the different thumbnails for the different events for the rest of the year. So you could see all of the different themes that Spirit guided me coming up. And the new moon in Virgo coming up, the secret code name is Kill Switch. It's Kill Switch, you know, followed by You Don't Own Me, and the teacher abandons the student. And then we have Finish Him. I totally heard Mortal Kombat go off in my head. Spirit was spirit. I heard Finish Him. And I was like, oh my God, you know, like full moon in Aries. Here we fucking go. Eclipse season is on its way. And this is like the last moment that people really have to choose of their own. I know. Spirit was on something else. Spirit was on something else, giving me these code name themes, but they're all up there. You guys can see them. You should go check it out. But yeah, this is the last moment where Spirit is giving us the option, hey Kiki Law, to choose our highest good of our own free will. And then it does start to get grossly uncomfortable, because what we are not allowing ourselves to heal, what we are preventing in our own healing, Spirit is going to change the energy of the people in your mirror so that they reflect the wild state that you've chosen internally. And it's going to start reflecting in your outer experience, where your mirrors are going to start to shift because you refused to. And if you can't let certain people go, they're going to start letting you go. You know, it's going to be one of those things, because Spirit's not going to let you stagnate, and it's going to start creating some major waves. Okay. Hey Kristen, how you doing? It's going to start creating some major waves. So just be aware of it. You know, you can choose it yourself. You can do the reflecting yourself. You can listen to what you're feeling, and you can think about your belief systems and how they're causing feelings that don't feel good in your reality, and where you're stagnating in your mirror, constantly feeling like, you know, Prometheus chained to the rock, getting his liver pecked out every day. Like if you're waking up to the stress every day and dealing with the stress every day and don't know how much more you could take every day, Spirit's like, I got a solution for that. NyQuil, it works, but it's going to taste like going down. You know, like, let's put you in that deep sleep state before you wake the fuck up. Spirit has a solution. It has a solution. And really tuning into that inner loyalty, that ability to choose self-love, is a big deal. Like even the last couple days, right? I've been working on my own tarot deck, like almost nonstop. Every waking moment that I've had, I've spent on this deck, sometimes like literally 21 hours straight, 16 hours straight, where I've been just stopping to eat or sleep. And if I woke up in the middle of the night for 3 hours, I'm working on it again in those 3 hours, you know, until my eyes can't stay open anymore. And I got hung up on the Judgment card, because the deck, it's all major arcana, and each major arcana is represented 4 times. There's going to be a separate deck for minors, but this is the Myths of Magic majors. And I got stuck on the Judgment card, and there's different facets to the Judgment process, which is why I broke each major down into 4 different cards. there's the facet of the judgment card where we face our inner child in the reflection and have to choose what is in our highest good, even though it goes against the looming expectations that everybody else puts on us and in life, right? And it's the fear versus faith moment where we have to trust our choices, even though it's going to upset a lot of people. And then it goes into the facet that, you know, once we do choose to end whatever it was, that it needs to remain quote unquote dead, right? With the Orisha Oya. And she's the guardian of graves and storms and lightning and things like that. And ultimately, you know, I ended up in this place with the final card. And given there's Anubis in there too, where, you know, we weigh our feelings, but I ended up at the final card and was torn between two, which, you know, my Facebook friends, they were they were pulled for opinion and polled to which card, you know, should I put in the deck? And I was really torn because at the end of Judgment, it really is a choice. You know, Judgment is the 20th card. It's 2 and the 0, and 2s are crossroads. And so, of course, it would make sense that the series of Judgment ends at a crossroads, because you can either reopen what was already closed and resurrect it, or you can give yourself a quote unquote second chance at a reality that you maybe missed before, right? And that you're not necessarily open-eyed to seeing the divine gift in front of you yet, especially if you are still healing. And so I didn't know whether to do the open eyes or the closed eyes final card. And even the poll results like were torn, and I was going over it with ChatGPT, trying to reason it out. And ChatGPT, bless it, was like, well, it depends on what kind of energy you want to give the deck. Do you want it to be more of this, or do you want it to be more of that? And I said, neither. I want it to be more aligned with truth. I don't want to direct the deck in any specific direction. I want the truth to be what it is, you know, without my own personal push on what the deck is intended to be. I just want it to be aligned with the truth of the energy that people can hold. And ChatGPT suggested that maybe I consider merging the cards, and then Kristen suggested maybe merging the cards. Hey, Bells, how you doing? And so I was like, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do, because I couldn't choose. I couldn't choose between them. And it's kind of like this moment, because it was such intense focus on the Judgment card for like 2.5 days. I was working on the Judgment series for about 2.5 days straight. And the culmination of the crossroad is kind of like where we find ourselves at right now. You know, we've got Juno in Scorpio, and it's all about commitments and contracts and what we choose to birth into the reality, what we choose to create. And are we going to continue to resurrect old energy that continuously burns us? Or are we going to open up to the vibration of something new that truly is in harmony with the mirror that we want to receive when we are in our power, right? When we trust and faith our alignment and our choices, and that ultimately everything is going to work out in the end for everybody's highest good, right? When we choose to save the self and love the self and prioritize the self, everybody in the old mirror is given the opportunity to do the same. And sometimes it does leave them no choice but to heal, which is the greatest gift that you can honestly give another soul. You know, when you choose compassion for yourself and truth for yourself, it opens up other people to choose the same and to walk that path that they're meant to walk. You know, when you align yourself with the right energy and let go of old mirrors, and you choose your healing, when you believe in yourself and your connection to the divine like that you are capable, of great healing. That's the first step, right? Choosing to heal is the first step in the manifestation of your greatest healing. Because once you choose it once, it gets easier and easier to choose it every time. And the healing process starts to kick into high gear the more comfortable you get with faith in listening to your feelings and being loyal to your intuition when you get out of situations, and in general just get out of energy that you know is not serving you. It's not something you want to choose every day, you know? And as we move forward from this moment through the rest of the year, like the rest of the year, Uranus is going to retrograde back into Taurus for the last time before it officially moves into Gemini permanently. Saturn and Neptune are retrograding. They're going to click back into Saturn or into Pisces for the last time before they move forward into Aries permanently. You know, so we are going to be revisiting some major energetic stuff for the rest of this year. And then everything is going to shift. Everything is going to shift. And we're either on board and protected in our own divine acknowledgement, our own divine alignment, or we're going to get fucking slammed. We're going to get slammed, you know? And so, you know, anybody who's watching my channel, I don't doubt that you will find yourself on the dawn of all of this energy. But for those who are plummeting into the dark night, it's going to be a supernatural kind of dark. And I got a lot of prayers out there for humanity as we go through a major healing process that is as necessary as the collective requires it to be, right? As necessary as the divine requires it to be. So hold faith, hold that space of self-love and the miracles that you can create when you change your belief system and your own perspective, because there is nothing more powerful that you can do for yourself and everybody in your life than focusing on the outcome that you want to receive. Focusing on the outcome that you want to receive. If you're focusing on problems and whatever the problem is, you are going to perpetuate the problem and receive more of the problem, and the problem is going to get more intense. But if you focus on the solution, if you focus on the outcome, that you already are healed, whatever that means for you, then you will be guided to choices and actions that reflect that outcome. And the problem will resolve itself because you're not focusing on the problem. Don't even focus on the problem. Like, yeah, the problem is there, but for every problem, there is a solution. And it starts within the self. So let it start within the self. Don't go looking out there for answers and trying to find, you know, the best advice from this person or that person or whatever. Like, go within yourself and find that answer. Have that trust and faith with spirit, with your inner voice that connects to your highest good. And just choose that. Choose that over and over and over again. And you will step out of your own way. And to be quite honest, that is the only thing. You are the only thing ever in your way. Even when you think you are between choice A and choice B, I guarantee you there is always choice C. There might even be choice D, E, F through Z. So don't get hung up on the restrictions of the reality. Focus on your ability to perceive limitlessly and trust and faith that if there is one highest good path and you're in tune with spirit, trusting yourself, that you will walk it, that you will choose an alignment with it, and you will get to the end result that you are looking for. Nothing can take you out outside of your own perspectives, your own beliefs, your own ideas of what you are or aren't capable of creating. If you want to create harmony, look in the mirror around you and choose to see it from a higher perspective. Ask Spirit why it's in your mirror. Is it a reflection of you truly? Is it a skewed perspective that you have about yourself that's not real? Do you want certain people inside your reality? Are they positive? Are they benefiting you in some way? Are they supportive? Do they encourage your growth? Or are they distracting you and stressing you out and putting you in a state of anxiety, making you feel like you're not good enough, making you feel like everything you do is for nothing? Because you're either going to win or you're going to be defeated, and the choice is yours. You know what I mean? The choice is yours. So with that, let's get into the secret code name readings. We are going to start with secret code name BabaYaga. Hey, Christina, how you doing? We're going to start with a divine conversation card, and then we are going to pull some insight for when push turns to shove. So secret code name BabaYaga. What is the divine conversation Spirit wants to have with you with this divinely timed theme of when push turns to shove for this full moon in Aquarius? Spirit, please. What is the conversation? There it is. Remove the label, their title, the obligations those labels and titles bring. Do you love the way they make you feel? Truth. Do you love the way they make you feel when you remove the label, right? Let's just say it's your mother. Do you love the way your mother makes you feel, or is she a royal CUNT? You know what I mean? Like, if you remove the label of best friend for 20 years, you know, are they a positive influence on your feelings, or are they a royal CUNT? It really begs you to ask, if you took the label off and they're just a facet of a soul in a meat suit, are they a positive energy influence on your reality, or can you not fucking stand them? That's the question you got to ask. If the label was gone, would you keep them in your life? Because if the answer is no, then you do have to remove them from your experience, or set really, really healthy boundaries so that whenever their energy is in your experience, it isn't actually affecting your experience, right? Take the label off. And that's really hard sometimes, especially with partners who have labels like husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, fiance, or, you know, they're my boss, or, you know, they're my coworker or whatever, you know, they're my roommate, they're whatever. You have to really take the label off and ask yourself, do I really like this person? Period. Do I enjoy them? Period. The answer is no. The answer is no. And you got to act and choose accordingly. That is trusting in faith with self-love, that when you choose to let go of that mirror or restrict its ability to influence you in negative ways, that you are working things out in the highest good, no matter what that is. So what does this look like, please, Spirit, for secret code name BabaYaga? We got the 8 of Wands. What else? Temperance, Sag energy. the Four of Wands and the Eight of Swords reversed. Oh, all right. I was going to say, let me get one more. And then I just got a whole bunch. All right. One more, Spirit Life, for real, though. Give me one more for that Nine of Wands. Okay. So this might most definitely be family related. We've got the Seven of Wands on the bottom and the High Priestess on top. Okay. Secret code name BabaYaga. I feel like the Eight of Wands with the Queen of Pentacles, Spirit is really pinging you to take a look at what you are holding on to and saying it's mine. Right? It's mine. Something in the manifestation, in the 3D world of things, whether it is an object or a person, right? That they're yours, and Spirit is guiding you in a very specific way in regards to what is yours, and is asking you to alchemize the situation, probably taking a label off of somebody and dealing with them accordingly, because they're fucking around with something that you cherish that is yours in the reality. I think if you visualize, because that is literally what the Four of Wands is about. It's about visualizing stability, visualizing a happy outcome for you and whomever or whatever you deem yourself truly connected to, right? High pair, that you and them are suited. I think you can manifest this. In fact, I know you can manifest it. Whatever this positive outcome is. We've got Sag energy. We've got Gemini, Virgo energy. It might not be the easiest thing in the world to manifest because, you know, these are both mutable energies. They're naturally squared and opposed. But I feel that if something in the routine has to give, something in the mirror has to give in order for you to create this vision where you're celebrating life and the people in it and who and what you are connected to, then you can do that. And I feel when you really do click in to that vision and your ability to manifest it, knowing that it's possible, and then trusting your inner guidance system after that, right? Because it's not about trying to manipulate the events going on in the present to get the result that you want. It's about trusting the steps that you are guided to in order to receive the outcome that you want. I think that it becomes really clear that you are not trapped, and there's actually a lot of actions that you can take and that you will be divinely guided to them in the right moment. If something is weighing heavy on you, especially in the realm of family or home and or work and business, right? Because this Ten of Pentacles can be business related as well. I feel like you are going to accept, because of how draining it is to deal with whoever or whatever it is, that you do in fact need to defend yourself against it, and that your intuition, your high feminine, is going to guide you on how to do that, right? If something or someone in the reality needs to go, Spirit is going to ping you every step of the way on how to do that. You might be perceived as the villain, as BabaYaga normally is. But there's a reason for the existence of that energy. And sometimes it is because the path of authenticity is the path of authenticity, and it brings harmony into the process for everyone, no matter what. You know, if you've got to be the quote unquote villain because you're working your inner magic, and taking no prisoners, right? Being a kind of chaos in the mix of divine order, where everybody expects you to sit politely and, you know, not speak up about certain things, and they expect you to just perform whatever facade best suits them. I think you're going to find that your higher perspective, that your resonation is a lot more powerful than you give yourself credit for. So powerful, in fact, that people are going to try and snuff that authenticity right out of you. You know, they're going to try and put you in some kind of energetic prison. But the reality is, if you got to bring the winter, then you got to bring the winter. You know, even outside of, you know, fae lore and myth, BabaYaga is Keanu Reeves. That's some John Wick shit, you know? Like, you could be minding your own business until somebody fucks with your dog. And this is the point, you know? Like, we have this Cancerian energy with the star Sirius, and it is about the dog. And it's like, you know, I was minding my own business. I wasn't going to cause any problems or start, you know, knocking people out. But damn it, you f***ed with my dog. You hurt the thing that I was loyal to the most. The one thing that I cared about that made me human. That kept me off the radar. But it's like, if y'all want to f*** with me, you got to understand I'm going to come 10 times harder, because you done fucked with the wrong person. You done fucked with the wrong person. And if people are manifesting consequence, then spirit is bringing you in as the reaper, as the fucking reaper. And they will reap what they've sown. You know, you're the one that's going to be dishing out some serious karma. And it puts you in a very divinely protected position, you know? It's like plot armor. It's like plot armor. But on a real note, like, people cannot do harm to you or that which you are loyal to and love deeply, whether it's legit person or in soul, you know? And just get away with it. They can't do that. There's consequence. And anybody who would misalign themselves with those people and stand in the way of their consequences getting dished out, right? Spirit is going to have them truly humbled too, because they're not listening to their intuition, and they're acting off of bad or missing information. And they're not listening to their intuition. So if they stand in the way of the crosshairs, motherfuckers are going to get, they're going to get hit. They're going to get hit with the divine energy that is. So, you know, BabaYaga, secret code name BabaYaga, remove the labels, remove the titles. How do they make you feel? And if you got to go all in, then trust in faith. You defending yourself is divine. It's meant to happen that way. And you might not understand that now, why it's so important for you to be that person. But I think you will. I think in time that you will, because you are going to be divinely inspired. Your choice of action is going to become real clear. You know, it's not going to be anything that you have to plot or think about. It's going to just be actions you are guided to take from a very passionate place, right? A very passionate place. And you're going to be like a fucking magician, right? Your inner magic is going to start manifesting the high vision, and everybody in the way of that is going to start getting knocked out of the way. So, secret code name BabaYaga. When push comes to shove, you are the shover. You are the shover. On a real note, you are the shover. All right. We are going to move forward into the Dresden Files. Now, I personally have never read or listened to or whatever the Dresden Files. Matter of fact, Spirit guided me to similar words until I finally Googled it and was like, that's exactly what I needed to Google, because it was kind of out of my energy bank entirely. And so Spirit kind of took me on a path and to find it. And as soon as I hit it, I was like, that's it. So whatever the Dresden Files is, if it's your secret code name or we're guided to it, you will know how the Dresden Files make sense, that you would be guided to this secret code name. Okay. So Spirit, please, what is the divine conversation that you would have with secret code name, the Dresden Files? And those who are guided to this message in divine time, what is the divine conversation? It's not your job to get them ahead, align their blessings, or drain yourself for them. Focus on you. Love yourself. Love yourself. It is not your job. God knows we love people. We love people. And we want to see those we love succeed so much. But you cannot drag them into alignment. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't drag people into alignment. They will just literally stall or completely stunt your progress altogether. You know, sometimes people are in our lives and we can only take it so far before we know, like we know that if we continue trying to help somebody, that Spirit is going to be pissed at us, because we have a projected path in our highest good to take, and they either choose to walk side by side with us moving forward, or they get stuck somewhere and there's nothing you can do about it. The law of attraction is the law of attraction. Like attracts like energy. And if you're growing and you're evolving and you're expanding and you're healing, and someone else is not in that vibe, they're not in that alignment, Spirit is going to separate you from them, because it has to, by universal law. The only way you can keep someone who's refusing to shift, who is insisting on staying stuck in their belief system and is not looking to expand, the only way that you can stay in alignment with them is if you do the same. Refusing to shift out of this idea that you have to be the one to get them ahead, to align them, right, and drain yourself for them. It's about stepping out of the martyr process, right? Stepping out of the martyr process. So what does this look like, please, for secret code name, the Dresden Files? What is going on for secret code name, the Dresden Files? All right, we've got the Nine of Swords. We've got Judgment. We've got the Ten of Coins. The Page of Wands in the reverse. And the Eight of Cups. Those cards are mirroring that Divine Conversation card pretty inaccurate. Let's get some clarities on this. Yeah, you're upset. You're actually having anxiety about it because whoever it is that you need to walk away from or being divinely moved forward with the chariot, right? Because that's divine intervention, divine movement. You're having a lot of anxiety about that because you know the divine is pushing you forward, and you know that's the judgment call being made. Like, you know that in order for you to rise, it's not ideal. It's not something that you would have chosen visually. Okay, give me one more. We got the moon. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords. Someone is robbing themselves of fulfillment. And I think you know that it would be you if you didn't continue to elevate. You know you're robbing yourself if you choose to stagnate with whoever or whatever this is. Now, mind you, tarot, it shows you the trajectory of the current energy. If people decide they want to move forward and they want to shift and they want to reinvent themselves and release spiritual burdens, like different things and soul pieces that are toxic that they've taken on from other people and made them their own. Like, if people want to choose different, they can. But as of right now, right? As of right now, someone at work or at home is not, they're not lighting, right? Their fire, their internal flame, their inspiration, their spark. I feel I'm getting that visual of like flint and steel, like someone is trying, I feel like you're trying to light somebody's candle, right? One candle lights another candle and loses nothing. I feel like you're trying to light somebody else's candle and it's just like they're snuffing it out. Like every time you try and light it, they've got a reason to not listen to what you're saying. And you know that Spirit's going to move you forward because you can't stay stuck with somebody who's not listening. Like, you're letting someone know, Scorpionic energy, Plutonian energy, you're letting somebody know that what is being visualized is not ideal, right? The Four of Wands is visualization. Whatever is being visualized is not ideal. It's not a happy visualization. You know, like whatever they're picturing in their mind, it's not best case scenario, it's worst case scenario. And I feel like you're doing your best to be encouraging, but they're just not taking it. Like they just don't believe it, right? They just don't believe it. They're not seeing the choice point that they're at and the healing hand you're trying to offer them to get them out of whatever energetic state or false belief or, you know, poor visualization process they're in. The Page of Wands with the 10 of Wands, both in reverse, like that's a refusal to shift, a refusal to integrate, a refusal to reinvent the self, that Phoenix rising energy that comes along with the Page of Wands. It's someone committing to ash without the rebirth, right? It's someone who is committing to the idea of, well, this is just the way it is. You know, life's a bitch and then you die. Like, they're not focused on the rebirth. They're not focused on the spark after such detrimental history. The burdens that they're refusing to let go of. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with spiritual, it's like, I'm getting it's like parasitic, right? These burdens, these spiritual burdens that they're carrying. It was like a parasitic person put their wounds on them, and the parasite energy has them convinced that their energy is damaged. It has them convinced. Like, you know how some parasites can fuck with the mind and take control of the mind and start to control whatever it is that they've chosen as a host. It's almost like they have a parasitic energy attached, and they're convinced that the energy is theirs when it's not, because who they are prior to that experience or person, that spiritual parasite type person, whoever they were before that, like that's their true self. And they forgot that that's who they were before this energy invaded their spiritual space. And so you have no choice but to walk away, because otherwise you're lost in the illusion, the delusion of being the healer that can't save anybody but yourself. And I think you're very well aware that staying in that vibe, you're going to rob yourself of your own fulfillment, your own happily ever after energy. You're going to rob yourself of your own beautiful energy, and the feel good feelings, because they don't believe that feel good feelings are possible. And so if you keep someone like that in your own mirror, your feel good feelings are not possible then, right? If they don't believe in their own fulfillment and that life can truly be beautiful, and that they could feel grateful and fulfilled and blessed and satisfied with life, then that is the exact thing they are going to steal from you if you continue to try to drag them. This has to do with their belief system and having to get out of their own nightmare. They got to get out of their own nightmare. And it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? Like, we do encounter these very parasitic type energies in our life. These people who are horrible, like my mother was one. My ex was one. My neighbor when I was 6 years old was one. My other neighbor was one, like parasitic people. They affect your life in profoundly horrible ways. But you can either choose to remember who you were before they tainted your spirit, or you could succumb to the fact that you are who you are now with this tainted spirit. You know what I mean? So you can only do so much, and I think spirit is letting you know that if you got to let certain things go, like, you got to let certain things go. And they might meet up with you later down the line, later down the path, because there is more than one spiritual teacher in the world for everybody. If someone doesn't give up on themselves, well, spirit's not going to give up on them either. Spirit never does, right? Spirit's 24/7 on our shit. It's just a matter of our own free will and what we choose to do with it. I think that you're kind of between a divine rock and a hard place, because you are intuitively picking up on things that are going to happen, even if you don't want them to happen, because I don't think you are actually going to sacrifice your feel good energy, and spirit knows that. Spirit knows that. Which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I mean, worst comes to worst, people live out their lives in their shadow, and then they let go of this body in this life, and they reincarnate, and they come back and they try again, right? Worst case scenario, we just get a 1,000,000th chance. But yeah. So secret code name, the Dresden Files. I do feel like you are on a divine path. I do think ultimately you know where you're heading. I just feel like you also know that there is an alternate path that does not feel as good if you continue on with energies who wouldn't take your best advice, which means you've got to take your own best advice. When we talk to other people about letting go of certain belief systems or mindsets or people or situations that interfere with their highest good, in the mirror of things, we have to take our own advice. And if they refuse to listen to it, then chances are 99 times out of 100, we have to apply the same advice that we gave them to them. And that's rough. That's rough. But that's That's divine math. You know, that's mirror work, right? That's being self-aware. So, you know, I feel like you are in tune with it. I think it just sucks. You know, like it does. It just sucks. Yeah, we only see what we're ready to receive, what we're ready to see. And until we're ready to see another way, we won't. We'll get stuck defending our pain, right? People get stuck defending their pain, especially if that's all they remember, right? That's all they've ever experienced is pain. They don't even know what happily ever after looks like. They don't even believe it's real because it's never shown up before. But I mean, it kind of proves the point. If all you've ever known is pain, and pain is all that has persisted and all that has existed, maybe you should give positive visualizations a shot, because the more you visualize negative shit, the more negative shit you get. Right? Point in case proven. Try being an optimist for a day. And then after you wake up, try it again tomorrow. Hey Megan, how you doing? Right. We are going to get into secret codename Glinda. We've done BabaYaga and the Dresden Files, and now we're going to get into secret codename Glinda. Timestamp in. Glinda, definitely like from the Wizard of Oz, right? Glinda is the Good Witch of the South. So let's see. What is the divine conversation for secret codename Glinda? Yeah. Yeah, divine experiment. Really? What do you got to lose? Besides pain itself, what do you got to lose? Try something different. All right. What is the divine conversation for secret codename Glinda? If I had it my way, you'd be happy and fulfilled and satisfied. Why do you insist on suffering? Perception. Right? The divine conversation Spirit is having with you. Spirit had it Spirit's way. You would be happy and fulfilled and satisfied. So why do you insist on suffering? It's one of those things. It's one of those things like you're choosing it every day because the perception that you have makes you feel like you're obligated to choose it every day. But you're not. But you're not. What does this look like, please? Spirit for secret codename Glinda. You're choosing a certain perspective every day that is causing you some kind of suffering. No matter what kind of suffering it is or to what degree. Insight, please, for secret codename Glinda, and those who are drawn to it in divine time. All right. All right, Kristen, enjoy dinner. Love you. Yeah, we've got the 5 of Wands. The Queen of Cups. Justice in reverse. And the 9 of Cups. Give me one more. And the 10 of Wands. clarities, please. I saw that on one of the cuts. I had a feeling. That's some major shit right there. That is Saturn opposed Mars right now. Mars is in Libra. There it is. All right. Bottom of the deck is the 8 of Swords. Top is the 6 of Coins. All right. Secret code name Glinda and those who are drawn to it. If spirit had it your way, you'd be happy and fulfilled and satisfied. So why do you insist on suffering? You're at war with yourself. You're at war with yourself. This is an internal battle between your mind, your heart, your wounds, your faith. Like, that is an internal battle. It is probably mirroring in your reality as frustration with other people giving you a hard time, right? Peanut gallery shit. Everybody has their opinion. It's causing problems. And you are missing an opportunity from spirit to accept blessings in. Because, you know, when we see the 4 of Cups, we're focused on third-party energy, outside energy, and we're missing the Ace of Cups, which is the overflow of love from spirit to you. You're focusing on other people. Instead of looking in your mirror and asking yourself, why are these people in my mirror? Take a minute to describe all of the people getting on your nerves right now. And then recognize that in that description of them, spirit is describing how it feels about you and what it is you are choosing. You know, this is how the divine mirror of things works. I feel like if you would describe somebody as annoying and stubborn, spirit would also describe you as annoying and stubborn in a spiritual sense because you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? You're insisting on your suffering. I feel with this Queen of Cups and the 3 of Swords that you can't let your attachment to something emotionally go. You've become emotionally invested to the point of pain. It's almost as if you've invested so much emotion into something that you don't want to take the loss by letting it go. And so you're continuing to double down or triple down or quadruple down on whatever it is. And spirit's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel good anymore. Like, even if it felt good for a time, even if investing in it felt good for a time, it doesn't feel good to invest in it anymore. You know, there were certain jobs, careers that I absolutely loved. And I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed what I did. And then at some point that switch flipped and it was no longer enjoyable. It no longer brought me peace. It brought me a whole lot of stress. And I had to accept that my time there was over, that I could not continue and persist in that energy. You know, we've had relationships, right, with people where we genuinely enjoyed them as friends, or we genuinely enjoyed them as partners, or we genuinely enjoyed them as family. And then somewhere along the line, the switch flips. And it is no longer enjoyable. It is a wild source of stress. And you have to accept that it is not enjoyable anymore. It is no longer in alignment. It was in alignment for a time to help you learn whatever it was you needed to learn. But that continuing to choose it despite stress or pain or suffering to yourself, whether it is financial suffering, emotional suffering, mental suffering, physical suffering, financial suffering, no matter what it is that you are suffering by investing in this thing emotionally, you have to accept it is no longer in alignment. And it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel fair because the attachment that you have, that's what's keeping it from being fair. Take your attachment out of it. Take your addiction to it or your obsession with it out of it. Why is it so important for you to keep investing to your detriment? Ask yourself that question. Why is it so important? Why is it so important that you keep doubling down and tripling down and choosing it every day? Why? You have such an emotional attachment. It is literally detrimental. And you know you could take the chains off, but you're like, but it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. To who? It's unfair to you if you keep the chains on. How do you know it's unfair to them? You don't even know what the outcome is if you take the chains off yourself. You don't even know. You're assuming. You're assuming. Spirit wants you to take a leap of faith on your wish fulfillment. You made a wish to Spirit. You wished for something. Spirit wants you to take a leap of faith on the fact that that is possible. You have a serious attachment to that which is not in harmony with you. The spiritual burdens of others that you're carrying is bringing your manifestation to a halt. This night is not moving. You are giving and giving and giving and giving. It is one way, and you can't see a way out of it. You are completely obligated. That's what you believe. You're insisting, right? You're insisting. This is the perspective that I have. I have this emotional attachment. I've invested emotionally so much, even if it causes me pain, I can't pull out now. It's not fair. Yeah, you're right. It's not fair, but it's not fair to whatever it is or whoever it is. It's unfair to you. It's painful for you. Damn right it's not fair. You're carrying all the spiritual weight for other people and making zero progress moving forward in the 3D reality of things. This is the Knight of Pentacles. It is 3D manifestation. Your manifestation is at a complete standstill because you're giving and giving and giving and giving, and it's one way. It's one way. People are begging for your energy. Please, Glinda, be the beautiful, white witch of the South. Be my fairy godmother. Make all of my dreams come true. But we're going to keep you stuck in this world of make-believe. This fantasy. It's not real. It's not real. Even Glinda couldn't save Dorothy. Glinda gave Dorothy the tools to get out. But she couldn't make Dorothy do it. Think about it. Think about it. Traveling around in your bubble. Flying around in this bubble. In this fantasy world. Where you're the hero. Spirit's like, wake up. Wake up from the dream. Wake up from the dream. Get out of your bubble. Get out of your bubble. Whatever your emotional attachment is that you are one-way giving, like you've got it all figured out. You're the savior. That's cool. You're the one. Spirit said, please. Are you genuinely happy? This card would not have come out if you were. Are you genuinely fulfilled and satisfied with life? No? No. So let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call ourselves out on our shit. What perception, what belief do you have that you have so emotionally attached yourself to that is causing you so much pain? It is. Like, just because you've been feeling pain, immense amount of pain or stress or suffering forever, doesn't make it any less painful just because you got used to it. It's still just as painful. You're seriously trapped in your head about it, and I feel for you. I do. I feel for you. But I can't even read these cards any other way. Spirit wants you to take a leap of faith on your wish. Spirit's been pinging you to take a leap of faith on your wish. And you're like, no, I'm carrying all these burdens for other people. I'm stuck where I'm at right now. I don't have any choices. Spirit's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Glinda. Go watch The Wizard of Oz. Go watch The Wizard of Oz. Even go on YouTube and just search Glinda, Wizard of Oz scenes. Whenever she showed up in the movie. What advice does your mirror have for you? What advice does Glinda, as your mirror, have for you? Alexis is obsessed with Wicked. Yeah. I haven't watched it. Mostly because I can't fucking stand Ariana Grande. I'm not gonna lie, I can't stand her. But yeah. I mean, secret code name Glinda. I hope it helps. You know, you're pretty fucking convinced that you're right and you have no options. So, you know, I don't know how much good this reading will actually do serving you. You know, I hope that it does, but you seemed very attached to your disharmony. So I guess, you know, it is what it is. Until you choose otherwise, right? It is what it is. You want to stagnate and be that one-way gift. You want to be that fairy godmother for everybody else and carry everybody else's burdens in this fantasy world. Like, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm here. You know what I mean? I'll continue to read the energy for you. But the energy don't change unless you do. You know? That's just the way it is. We're going to get into secret code name Strawberry Shortcake. And I definitely did see the cartoon and the food. I saw both. So something to do with sweet, beautiful layers. Let's see. Secret code name. Let's get a timestamp. Or secret code name Strawberry Shortcake. All right. Spirit, please. For secret code name Strawberry Shortcake. What is the divine conversation that you'd like to have with them with this when push turns to shove themed secret code name message? What divine conversation? You know what I think? I don't. And you should give it a try. Trust your gut, your soul on this one. Intuit it out. Intuit it out. Take your mind out of the equation. Take logic and reason out of the equation. Just feel through it. Logic and reason are not going to get you to the answer that you need. Overanalyzing things or overthinking things is not going to get you the answer that you need. You can't think about it any harder. You got to feel through it. You got to trust your gut and your soul on this one. Okay. What does this look like, please? What does this look like, please? Secret coding, strawberry shortcake. Insight, when push turns to shove. We've got the Six of Cups. We've got the World, Justice, and the Fool. Some major arcana right there. Give me one more and some clarities, please. Welcome back, Kristen. Ace of Pentacles. All right, clarities. I hope dinner was swell. Queen of Wands reversed. Magician reversed. Ace of Cups and the Knight of Wands. Give me one more. The Ace of Pentacles. And the Page of Wands reversed. I'll take you up on that. I'm so curious about all of Dustin's cooking at this point. We've got the Ten of Cups on bottom and the Three of Cups on top. Okay. Okay. This is where you take your mind out of it, right? This is the close cycle on the Magician. Magician is mercurial because your thoughts are betraying you, right? The Magician in reverse is trying to manipulate an outcome, trying to get a certain result. I think you have a soulmate that you're deeply connected to, that you've probably spent past lives with, who is out of alignment. The Queen of Wands in the reverse is a total bitch. She don't care. She's like, I'm manifesting what I'm manifesting. I want what I want, and I will burn my way through it. So whoever your soulmate is, like, they don't care who they hurt, you included. You included. That's rough. That's really selfish desire. You got a soulmate who's selfish, and you're trying to figure out a way to make it work. Right? You're trying to figure out a way to get around or work through this person's selfish desires. Now, it might not be necessarily someone that you love. It could just be someone that you know that you've dealt with them before in a past life. There's some kind of emotional debt that you feel you have to them, that you feel on some level that you owe them from a past life, and you're tolerating their bullshittery because you brought that sense of debt, right? Because this is Venus in Scorpio, the Six of Cups. Feeling like you owe them from a past life. that the debt wasn't paid. And so now they've shown up in this life as a very selfish, out for themselves person, because they don't feel like they can bank on anybody to help them. So they have their own selfish motives. And you're trying to show them in some which way, shape, or form that you support them and you want their support back. But that's not who they are this life. They've got selfish motives, and that's what drives them. They don't want anybody's help. They don't want anybody else taking credit for it at this point. And you feel like you owe them because, you know what, that might have been the energy you were in a past life, and you might have burned them. And so here you are in this life, you know, trying to make it up to them while they're just burning you. And you're trying to figure out a solution, trying to manipulate an outcome, and it's not working, right? Spirit's like, you got to take your brain out of it. You cannot logic and reason with chaos. It's not predictable. There's no order to it. When someone acts from a place of self only and is not considerate of other people, it's chaotic. It is unpredictable because you don't know what they'll do or what lengths they'd be willing to go to get what they're after, who they'd be willing to burn to get it. Justice with the Ace of Cups. I think in order, and this is, you know, the square that Libra and Cancer naturally create, right? Libra and Cancer are naturally squared signs. In order for things to truly be balanced and come into harmony, you have to let Spirit overflow that love cup to you. You have to tune into that Jupiter, Venus energy in Cancer right now and really apply that to the house that Cancer rules for you. Really apply that self-nurturance and that self-compassion and listening to your intuition in order to bring balance and true justice into the equation. You've got to take a leap of faith on some truly intuitive divine actions and know that in order to create the foundation you want, you do not have to change yourself to fit around this person. Because that's what you're doing. When you're all up in your head and you're trying to figure out a solution, when you're trying to manipulate the outcome to be a certain way, for them to perceive you or receive you a certain way, and you're trying, right, that bullshit word, trying to make things happen, that's not you. That's you reacting to them, but you're not responding with yourself. Sometimes you have to let debts die with that lifetime. Like, that is one of the biggest false beliefs that we as souls have. Hey, Nessa, how you doing? Hey. That is one of the biggest false beliefs that we have, as souls have, that we owe from past lives. Like, that lifetime ended and so did the debt. If you think about a business, if it goes bankrupt and it shuts down, it doesn't matter who they owe. They shut down. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't go knock on their door and say, hey, you still owe me. They're like, I'm sorry, we closed. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. It's no different with souls and past lives. We think we owe them this debt when we don't. It ended with that lifetime. You don't owe them and they don't owe you shit either. It ended. That lifetime shut down. There is no more debt to be paid or collected. You have to intuit your way forward. You can't manipulate a certain outcome to get a quote unquote debt paid that doesn't even exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. All you need to do is focus on your 10 of Cups, focus on your fulfillment, know that they will get their fulfillment as well. They will get it. They don't need your help. They don't want your help. They don't need your help. And that is what it is. It is what it is. I think you and this person, whoever they are, would be so much better off if you were truly just focusing on yourselves and what you need to do for yourselves. They're in your mirror for a reason. They are driven and only focused on them, and they don't need anybody else, and neither do you. And neither do you. To get your fulfillment, you don't need them. You don't need them. Y'all's contract is over. It's over. Y'all are familiar to each other, sure. But your lessons in this life have nothing to do with last life or any life prior. You're not any less of a person or a horrible soul because you didn't pay a debt from a past life. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. I wish more people understood that. I do. I wish more people understood that. The lifetime ends, and so are all of the lessons with it. We come back new and fresh. There's a reason why we come back into this life and don't remember shit. Why we go through that divine spiritual amnesia. Because if we've remembered, we would be so fucking distracted from what the mission is right now in the present moment. And the present moment is all that we have, and it's all that matters. You don't owe anybody. So stop trying to make it something that it's not. Listen to your intuition more. Listen to your intuition more. You don't need to try so hard. Trying is a bullshit word. It either flows or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, let it go. There's so many beautiful layers to you. You know? There's so many beautiful layers to you. Your layers are meant to be enjoyed. Really. I hope that helps. Y'all don't even know. This deck, I've had it for so long. It has been around my sage and my Palo Santo and my incense for so long that even now, every time I shuffle it and do that little fan like that, I get a whiff of all of the smudge that I've burned over the course of time. Oh my God. And I love it. It's wonderful. All right. We are going to get into Krampus's Henchmen. Krampus's Henchmen. I looked it up when I got that ping because I was like, I don't even remember Krampus having henchmen. You know what I mean? So I Googled it, like, does Krampus have henchmen? And sure enough, in some mythos, Krampus does have henchmen. They're dark elves. They are dark elves. It's interesting. Interesting. All right. Krampus, to be fair, some people say he works against, but a lot of different things that I researched said he works with Saint Nicholas, with quote unquote Santa Claus, because somebody's got to punish the bad kids, and Santa's not the bad guy. Krampus, on the other hand, is like, I'll deal with them chilling. All right. Krampus's henchmen. Spirit, please. Yeah. Him having henchmen makes sense, yeah. What is the divine conversation, please, for secret codename Krampus's henchmen? Open your mind. What if you were them, lived their experiences, and were dealing with you? Eyes open with compassion. Oof. This is about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. What if you were them and lived their experiences and were dealing with you? That's a deep one right there. This is about looking in the mirror from someone else's eyes. You know, sometimes we get so caught up in our own perspective and our own feelings and our own thoughts and what the world and life looks like from our eyes. We forget how other people see us and perceive us, and that they are seeing us and perceiving us. That they are processing the experience with us in a way that we sometimes tune out of, and we forget to see ourselves. What it must be like to deal with us. Are we that person that's always focusing on the negative? Are we that person that's always complaining? Are we that person who puts things off? Are we that person who leans on them? Are we that person who projects pain out in the eyes of someone else? Like, to ourselves, yeah, we're healing. To ourselves, this energy matters. To ourselves, our beliefs are our beliefs, and they're so solid and all this stuff. But we forget what it must look like from someone else's eyes to see us when they see a picture or a point of view that we are failing to see. If we were to look in the mirror, even if you just reflected back on today alone, what would you have looked like from someone else's perspective? What were they seeing? What were they hearing? All that they've been through in life. How would they receive you? And if you think about the conversations, right, that people have with you and the advice that they give you, they're giving it to you based on a place of experience, right? People advise and guide based off a place of experience. Even me, myself, on this channel, I advise and I guide based off of my own experiences when I pull energy, right? Because that's the best advice I could possibly give someone, whether I know them or not. I speak from my own experience because I know that me having experienced it and finding my way out of it, right? That I have found my way out of some seriously difficult energy. The way I guide and advise is based off of my own personal experience. And I feel like if you have someone in your life who sees you and can understand your pain because they've been through it, you know, just like I understand people's pain because I've been through it. That's why I'm a spiritual teacher. That's why I was called to this, to do what I do. Because I understand pain. I've lived it. And I've gotten myself out of it. I feel like there are certain people in your life that see you differently than you see yourself because they have their own experiences. And if they've gotten themselves out of it, even if it's just a little bit, they're guiding you so that you can make at least one step progress in the right direction. At least one. And they're in your mirror because there's a part of you that knows you are capable of taking that step in the right direction. That's why they're in your mirror reflecting back to you, right? That two-way mirror, the inner reflects in the outer. There is a part of you that believes you can at least take the very next step in the right direction, one step further in the right direction. Or they wouldn't be in your mirror. So look through the eyes of someone else, especially if they believe in you, and ask yourself, are you resisting it? Are you resisting it? And what it must be like to be them, watching you resist the first step in the right direction, knowing that they know you can choose it and aren't. What must it be like to be them dealing with you? And what would you do if you were in their shoes? What would you choose if you were dealing with you? What would you do? If you were your own guardian angel, how would you advise you? What would you choose for you? What advice would you give yourself? These are things you got to think about with that card. Let's see what insight Spirit has for you. What does this look like? What does this look like? Open eyes with compassion. Like, have some compassion for them and some compassion for yourself. When you show yourself compassion, you will by default be showing them compassion. What insight, please, Spirit? For secret code name Krampus's Henchmen. All right, Spirit. King of Wands reversed. The Star. Ten of Swords and the Knight of Cups. Give me one more. And the Five of Pentacles. All right. Whoa. Bottom of the deck is Strength. Top is the Knight of Swords. Okay. Okay. You definitely have someone communicating to you from a place of strength. They're quieting their own ego and are listening to their intuition, their high feminine energy. They're tuning into spirit when they talk to you. They are trying to get you on that first step. That's the Three of Wands, right? You don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to see the first step. That's MLK. Yeah, Tower. They're trying to get you to radically shift, to humble your own ego. They might have a lot to say. There's probably a lot that they want to say, and they don't. Like, that spirit guiding them to keep their mouth shut. Especially if they feel like it would fall on deaf ears, right? The King of Wands is a visionary. It's in reverse. And the Eight of Pentacles is clarifying. It's like putting in all this work with no vision, with no high vision, right? Putting in all this effort and not getting the results because you're not picturing the vision that you genuinely want. So you're just doing all this effort for nothing. You're not seeing the high vision. And the healing, right? The healing is taking place with a new foundation. The thing is, the Ten of Swords, that's going to end in betrayal. That's going to feel like abandonment or betrayal or self-sabotage. Mentally, it's self-sabotage. And the divine is going to move you forward, and it's going to spill 3 cups, right? You're going to end up losing a third-party person. Who considers you like family, right? Because the 3 of Cups are filled with blood, right? It's the three blood-filled cups. Someone who looks at you like family. The self-sabotage, right? It's going to cost you it's going to cost you an emotional loss. It's going to actually put you, it could potentially put you into a depression. Grieving, right? Grieving the loss of someone. And vice versa, right? They could be grieving the loss of you because you're being divinely moved forward in a different direction. Knight of Cups with the King of Swords. Like, someone is definitely communicating from a place of love. They're trying to give you this high perspective, right? This is Aquarian energy. It's Libran energy, right? Cardinal air. The final form of the royal court of swords. They're trying to bring balance in. They're communicating from a place of love. Like, hey, you don't have to go through this impoverished energy where you feel like you have nothing. You know, this 5 of coins with the death card. That's a major fucking reset, and it's not a good one. You've got to transform this wounded, poor me energy That's what this Five of Pentacles is. That is poor me energy. I'm wounded. I don't have anything. Poor me. Poor me. I'm out in the cold. I'm abandoned. I'm unlucky, right? Some Five of Pentacles cards show the person sitting in the snow, wounded, rolling snake eyes. I'm just unlucky. Like, you got to transform that fucking mindset bad. Self-sabotaging in the mind, right? Self-betraying in the mind. The Suit of Swords is the mind. But if you're attached to depression and attached to loss, like someone's trying to tell you, you got to change your energy, you got to change your thought patterns, and you're just like, no, poor me. Like, doing all of this work with no positive vision. You've got a healing energy present, trying to set a new foundation and show you a different path. It's like you're putting in all this work for nothing. They're trying to show you a better way. You're like, no. And they're like, come on, yes, you can. And you're like, no. And it's like, you know, this back and forth. What would it be like dealing with you if you were them? They obviously care. They haven't given up on you this whole way. But it's almost like you're insisting on giving up on yourself. That sucks. That sucks. I think by the time the holidays rolls around, especially because Krampus is Henchmen, like it's really time indicative. Krampus is significant around, you know, the Christmas holiday. I think you'd really regret it by the time that time of year rolls around. I think you would feel so fucking sorry for yourself. That poor me energy would be so fucking huge. But that's because you've consistently chosen, right? You've consistently chosen to put in effort with no high vision, to betray yourself, right? Sabotage yourself in your own mind, to move forward in alignment with depression and grieving. I take losses. I take losses. My whole life, I take losses. I'm unlucky. Like, if that's the energy you want to take, like, Spirit's going to whoop your fucking ass come the end of the year. You got to watch your alignment. Because if you do have a healing individual in your life, you're not gonna be able to maintain that energy bridge, that connection to them. You've got a window with them in it, and you can either maintain it or you can sabotage it. Spirit's letting you know because you don't have to go that route. Like, the tarot tells you things based off your current energy. So as far as your current energy goes, this is where you're going to end up. This Five of Pentacles death card energy. But if that is not where you want to end up, then you really do have to cycle back and reset your vision and focus on your healing. Focus on love. Focus on gratitude. Focus on higher perspective, focusing on your inner harmony, changing your thought patterns, You got to make some major changes. Spirit wouldn't be giving you this reading, right? If you are a lost cause. Spirit's giving you this reading so that you could see where you're headed. And if you don't like it, you can choose to change it. Like, that's the beauty of free will. You can choose to change it. You do not have to give in to this outcome. You could be like, fuck this. This is where my current energy is taking me. I don't want to go there. Let's fucking work. Let's do the work. Right? Let's do the work. Fuck it. What do I got to lose? If the outcome is depression and loss and abandonment and feeling out in the cold and alone and feeling like death, well, if that's the outcome and that's the path I'm on, what do I got to lose choosing a different path? What do I got to lose? By hearing somebody out who speaks to me from a divine place. What do I got to lose? Working on vision, working on energy, working on being positive, focusing on my healing. What do you got to lose? The path you're on will cost you everything. The path you're on right now is going to cost you everything. Everything. So what do you got to lose? Take some really good advice. Take some really good advice. When we have a hard time caring about ourselves, there is someone out there who cares about us. And if we could just fucking listen, we'd be so much better off. Like for me, that's Tanya. Whenever I know I am in my own damn way and I could feel it, I will call Tanya and I will know in advance that when I call her, whatever advice she gives me, I'm going to fucking take it. Even if I don't believe it, even if my brain tries to tell me it's not going to work, I will say, fuck it, I'm going to listen. And I'm just going to do it. She tells me to go meditate. She tells me to go take some Hertz meditation medicine. She tells me to go outside and do some breathing. She tells me to focus on something different. She starts asking me questions. I will fucking sit there and I will ask myself the questions and I will answer and I will do whatever she tells me to do. And to be completely fair, every single time I've ever listened to her, she was so right. My energy snapped out of it. I'm so fucking grateful for that woman. Even Kristen as of late will say certain things to me and I'm just like, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I don't even realize I'm in a rough spot. And then they say something in just basic, simple conversation. And I'm like, you know what? I think I can apply that. Thank you for being in my mirror. Thank you for encouraging me. I didn't realize I was up against a brick wall until you said that. And then it clicked. And then it clicked. Like, you know, this is why we tune in to our earth angels. We're all human and we are all guilty of being in our own way sometimes. And that's what our earth angels are for. They help us get out of our damn way. They help us get out of our own way. The only way forward is forward. The only way forward is forward. You know what I mean? That's it. The only way forward is forward. So I hope the message helped. I hope the message helped because Spirit has not given up on you. Spirit has not given up on you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So if Spirit's not giving up on you, I suggest you follow suit. I suggest you follow suit. Go check in with one of your earth angels and tell yourself whatever advice they give you, you're just going to fucking try it. Fuck it. What else you got to lose? You're just going to fucking try it. When we fail to love ourselves, those who love us unconditionally come through every fucking time. Every fucking time. All right. The truth is we never have to submit. We never have to submit to the pain. Never. We can alchemize that shit. We can alchemize that shit. We can reinvent our energy. We can move forward with divine direction. We can change our whole fucking lives. We can change our whole lives. No matter how crazy it's been. If we're still here breathing, it's within our control. Period. That's our superpower. All right. We're going to get into secret code name Dream On. Secret code name Dream On. Totally heard the Aerosmith song. Totally heard Aerosmith. So if you were drawn to this song or drawn to the secret code name, I suggest listening to the song and maybe looking up the lyrics. Because it's probably relevant. I heard that song clear as day. And it was immediate. I was like, what's this person's secret code name? Dream On just started blasting in my head. I was like, all right. And so it is. So Spirit, what is the divine conversation you would like to have with secret code name Dream On? True value has nothing to do with money. True value looks to de-stress your soul. It is unconditional. True value has nothing to do with money. The most valuable people in your life are those who look to distress your soul. The most valuable choices you can make for yourself are the ones that de-stress your soul. Money will never actually get you there. If you make these choices, those choices become obsolete. Money will be there when you need it. You will always have enough. But if you focus on money and not de-stressing yourself, putting more weights on yourself, that leads to a life that is not enough because it holds no value. If you think about it, money only has value because we say it does. It's just a piece of paper that we've given value to, or a chunk of metal that we've given value to, or a number on a screen that we've given value to. But does it hold any real value? If it's stressing you the fuck out, what value does it have really? Look to de-stress your soul. That will work itself out. It always does. It always does. Dream on, right? Let's get some insight. Let's get some insight. What does this look like, right? When push turns to shove. Spirit, please. Secret code name Dream On. True value has nothing to do with money. True value looks to de-stress your soul. That is the most important energy you can hold within your life. Those are the most important soul mirrors that you can manifest, the people that love you unconditionally and look to de-stress your life. That's empathy at its finest. True value, that's empathy at its finest. All right. We've got the 9 of Coins. We've got the High Priestess. We've got the Sun. The 10 of Wands. And the 6 of Swords. Clarities, please. Okay. Bottom of the deck is Judgment. Top is the Page of Cups. All right. We've got quite a bit here. Okay. If you are in fact single, you don't like it. If you are financially independent and or pulling weight financially on your own, you don't like it. Intuitively, I think you know you need to heal. I think you're getting those downloads from spirit that healing is required. You may even be talking about it. What you want to feel better. The thing is, who you are right now, you're manifesting from a place of wounds, memories of when you've martyred the self. Times when it was heavy to hold other people's weights, when you were contracted to their emotional well-being. And maybe that well-being was tied to money, right? With the coins. And you had to move forward from that soulmate. Because the burden was too heavy. Being obligated or contracted to be their emotional fulfillment. And now I think you find yourself in a similar position where you want somebody to do it for you. The fact of the matter is, it was too heavy of a burden for you, which means at some point you would be too heavy of a burden for someone else. And that soulmate would end up moving on from you. And I think if you're tired of maybe pulling financial weight on your own and you just need some relief, instead of thinking about, right, manifesting a partner who you can help or who you can lean on financially to take some of the burden off, I think that is the wrong way to manifest it, right? That's the manifesting from a place of wounded energy. I think if you want to manifest somebody, knowing that this is what would help you feel less pain, less suffering, less stress, manifest someone who seeks to de-stress your soul instead. Take money out of it, right? Money has it's nothing of value. Take money out of it. Just simply manifest someone who seeks to de-stress your soul and seek to be that person for someone else. A source of de-stress, right? A source of calm, a source of peace, a source of refuge, a source of stability for each other. Because when you focus on your ability to be that stability, to be that calming presence in someone else's life, knowing that that is what you are capable of, that is what you will manifest. Because if you've already been through the ringer with other people in old contracts where you were committed to being their fulfillment, their de-stress, even, and it was a huge burden to you, like, you know how unfair that is. So instead, focus on being the person you want to receive. And when you look to de-stress your own soul and take money out of the equation, When you communicate from a place of compassion, right? Beginner's heart, that's when you're truly resurrected. That's the judgment. That's when you're taken out of and rising out of this stagnant energy where nothing is enough, where you're living, you know, day to day or paycheck to paycheck or month to month and stuff like that. That's why you're stuck at this crossroads energy between a rock and a hard place. Because the very rigid way of thinking, it's very cold, right? It's very cold. That's what's betraying you. You're looking for someone to ease your burdens, but you're forgetting how important it is for you to also be inside that energy for someone else, to love unconditionally, to let that energy in. Like, you've got to look at the whole picture, right? The times that you've laughed, the times that you've cried, right? Go back and listen to that song, Dream On, right? You've got to take in the whole picture and realize that the value is not in the money. The value is in the individual who chooses to look at you with a sense of commitment to de-stressing. It has to be reciprocated. Otherwise, it's too heavy on the person who's giving, and it's not fair. And you know that because you've been in that person, you've been in those shoes. You've been in those shoes. It's not fun being in those shoes. I've been in those shoes. It is not fun being in those shoes. Being the one to carry the burden for somebody else, to de-stress their life, to make their life easier, and not having it reciprocated. My God. Yeah, it's brutal. You have no choice but to move on. It's too heavy. You'll break your back under the weight, right? And all the pressure. Don't seek to heal anybody or seek anybody, you know, who is going to heal you. Seek peace. To both manifest and receive and provide peace. That you know you are a peaceful haven and not an obligation to anybody, right? That you are capable of being independent. Just like somebody else is capable of being independent. It's just so much easier when you seek to de-stress each other. When it goes both ways. And it's not all on one person to start carrying the burdens. You can manifest what you want, but you got to do it from a healed place, not a wounded place, right? Otherwise, they'll end up moving forward and you'll end up in the same situation you started in. Don't look at somebody as valuable because they bring money to the table. They might bring money to the table and they might bring a whole lot of drama too. So look for someone who seeks to de-stress your soul and look to be that. Because I think therein lies the answer. Therein lies the answer. All right. Secret code name Dream On. I hope that helps. When push turns to shove, it's just a matter of shifting perspectives, right? It's just a matter of shifting perspectives. Ooh, I hope you guys get your power back. Power outage, damn. Well, Kristen was telling me about them solar flares that set off a few days ago that are hitting us today. I'm glad it's not screwing around with my internet connection. It'll mess with things like that. We're going to move on to secret code name Fraggle Rock. Do y'all remember Fraggle Rock? Phenomenon. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God. Let me get a timestamp in for Fraggle Rock. If you don't know what Fraggle Rock is, you should YouTube Fraggle Rock. You really should. It's one of those priceless older things that I wish they still had today. I was so nostalgic earlier. Oh my God. Because Crysta, the secret code name Crysta, came from Fern Gully. We're going to get there after Fraggle Rock. So I was like, oh my God. And I started just remembering all kinds of movies that I missed, like The Secret of Nim and The Rescuers and All Dogs Go to Heaven. And I was just like, oh my God. Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, like old school fucking movies that are just so good. They're so good. Fraggle Rock is priceless. All right, Spirit, what is the divine conversation you'd like to have with secret coding Fraggle Rock and those who are drawn to it in divine time? What is the divine conversation that you would like to have with them? If you can accuse another of lying, then you must face how you've lied to yourself. What's intolerable? Mirror, mirror. Mirror, mirror. If you can accuse another of lying, then you must face how you've lied to yourself. What's intolerable? That's the damn truth. I had to face that mirror. I had to face that mirror with my ex so bad because I knew he was lying to me. I knew it. And I was like, I had to have that conversation with myself. I was like, Grace, how are you lying to yourself? I thought he was my person. I thought I was meant to be with him. And I was like, maybe you're lying to yourself. You don't even like how you feel with this person. You don't like what they bring into your life, the energy that they come with. And I kept thinking I was strong enough to deal with it, that I could fix it, that I could manage it. And I was like, I'm lying to myself. This is ridiculous, right? I'm dealing with a liar. I came to that realization, it's almost 4 years ago now. How are you lying to yourself? What's intolerable? Because if you cannot continue to tolerate their lies, if it's driving you insane, then you have to acknowledge the fact that you cannot tolerate lying to yourself about said person either. If you wish they could just be honest with you, if you wish they could just be honest with themselves, then you wish the same thing for yourself, right? Spirit would have it. Spirit would wish that you would stop lying to yourself. What insight, please, Spirit? For secret code name Fraggle Rock. What insight, please? When push turns to shove, right? We've got the High Priestess. The Knight of Wands. The Magician. The Wheel of Fortune. And the Queen of Cups. Clarities, please. A lot of major arcana. Judgment, King of Cups, Four of Wands. What else? I need 2 more. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords. There's that liar energy, right? With the 3 of Pentacles. You are lying to yourself about what a soul contract is between you and someone else. It's not the contract you think it is. I'm getting this vibe of like feeling like a salesman. Salesmen will say anything to get you to buy what they're selling. It's con artistry. Someone will say anything to get you to believe them. And you are doing the same thing. You don't actually believe what you're saying. Like people say the truth hits different. Like, you know, when the lies are coming out of your mouth, you can intuit that. You're trying to resurrect something that should stay dead. What do you believe is going to like work if you could just revive it? You've got to take action towards being emotionally intelligent, which is listening to your feelings. If it doesn't feel good, what are you doing? You want to manifest the happily ever after. You want to manifest the highest good vision. But that is requiring you to be emotionally intelligent. But if you're not listening to your feelings and you're all in your head thinking you can manipulate the outcome, you're like, well, maybe I could change fate if I do this choice. Maybe I could change fate if I do that choice. Maybe I could change fate if I do that choice, right? The thing about the Seven of Cups is there's all these different cups and none of them ring true. That's why the Eight of Cups follows, because none of these options actually make sense to the soul. It's like you're trying every single option and you're not listening to yourself. You're trying every single cup because you're confused. You don't know how to receive the outcome you want to receive. You're trying to force or manipulate a certain vision of success. And it doesn't matter which cup you choose, at some point you will realize every single option you have chosen is not working because they're not in alignment. You can pour, but if the hole's got a goddamn crack in it and it's leaking out whatever you're pouring into, you will never fill that cup. It will stay empty. You will stay emotionally drained. But you're holding on to this for dear life, right? This emotional attachment with the Queen of Cups, refusing to let what is dead die. She's holding a fucking urn. It's dead. But she's holding on to this emotional attachment, this idea of reality versus what is ideal. Trying to make the reality ideal, juggling the two. The thing is, the reality and the ideal are not the same. The reality is not ideal, and you cannot make it so. But you've attached yourself to making the reality ideal, and you are willing to try everything to make it ideal. But the reality is the reality, and you are lying to yourself. Straight up. You're lying to yourself. All of the options that you think you have, all of the paths that you think you have, none of them resonate. None of them resonate. Well, I'll just try this, or I'll just try that. At some point, you're going to hit the 8 of Cups and have to move forward. In the meantime, you are exhausting yourself of tons of emotional energy. Queen of Cups, that's Scorpionic energy. You've got to transform. The only way the reality becomes ideal is if you let it go and let what is dead stay dead. Just let it die. Just let it be dead. Just let it be dead. You can reflect on it in hindsight. They can reflect on it in hindsight. But you already know you have to let this go, that it's not revivable, that you are revivable, but that them or the situation or the dynamic that is not ideal, like you cannot continue to put your energy there. To manifest the happily ever after, you have to stop choosing every other option but the right one. You're choosing every other option but the right one. Because you're insisting on making a not ideal situation in the reality ideal. But you can't change other people. If they insist on lying and being dishonest, you cannot make progress with this situation or person. You've committed, right? Contractually bound yourself to lying to yourself as long as this situation persists. It is not ideal, and it will stay that way. You've already tried financially supporting it. You've already tried, talking to them about what the victory is. You've already talked to them about deception. You've already talked to them about healing. You've already talked to them about, demons or battles internally or addictions. Like, you've already talked about all this stuff. You've already tried every single one of these cups. Not a single one has quenched the thirst that you have to make the situation ideal. You got to ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's because you're afraid to be alone? Is that the root of it? You're afraid to face your healing? You're scared? That's normal. That's normal, but you have to admit that truth to yourself. That you're afraid of what reinvention looks like. Because all you've known is the wounded part of you. You're trying to build this foundation on burden. This soulmate is a fucking burden. They're a burden. They're a spiritual burden. They're a nightmare. They're a nightmare. They interfere with your sovereignty. You feel like there's a divine connection between you and them. Like you're meant to fucking heal them or some shit. When really you're just projecting out. You're projecting. Like you are meant to heal yourself. You are meant to heal yourself, not them, yourself. And that's what this person is triggering. They're triggering you to heal yourself. You're afraid. And that's okay, but you have to admit that you're afraid. You can't deny the fact that you're afraid. You have to face that reality that the reason why you're doing what you're doing is because you are afraid to face your healing. You are afraid to do what is required of you in the deep dig. It's easier to focus on them and try and make them ideal instead of yourself. How could they possibly become ideal if you yourself are refusing to become ideal? How could they do the deep digging, the inner work, if you yourself are refusing to do the inner work? You're in each other's mirror. You're not healing and they're not healing. When you choose to heal, they'll choose to heal. They'll have to. And or they will vibe out of your mirror completely and you will walk a healed path and they will have to fucking figure it out. But you are major distracting yourself. Major. Let me focus on their healing so I don't have to focus on my own. Let me try and make it ideal without having to do my own inner work. You got to reset. You got to reset yourself and face the truth. You don't want to be alone. That might be a real fear. You don't want to be alone. You want them to heal. You want them to heal so that you're not alone and you have somebody healed with you. That's not possible if you don't heal yourself. That might mean you're on your own for a while. That might mean you're solo for a while. It doesn't mean you won't come back in time and cycle with this person. It doesn't mean you won't meet somebody else. Like if you're afraid of being alone, you will be in this dynamic alone as fuck. And there is no worse feeling being alone than trying to be in a dynamic that is not ideal and feeling alone with people. There is nothing worse. Tell me no matter who or what this is that you are not alone right now doing it on your own alone. You want this person on board so bad so that you're not alone. But tell me it's not worse. Tell me it's not worse whipping a dead horse. Acting like you're not alone when you are. Sitting next to that dead horse, like at least I'm with this horse and I'm not alone, when you are alone as fuck. That horse ain't getting you nowhere. You got to get real honest with yourself. Secret code name Fraggle Rock. You got to get real honest with yourself. You are like neck deep in your Delulu. Neck deep in your Delulu. Spirit's calling you out. All right. We're going to move on to secret code name Crysta. Crysta from Fern Gully, Crysta. You were drawn a secret code name and you can rewatch it. You should. Her journey is pretty cool. All right, let me get a timestamp. Okay. Spirit, please, for secret code name Crysta and those who are drawn to this message in divine time. When push turns to shove, what is the divine conversation you'd like to have with them? You know they are thinking of you too. Whatever differences there are can be worked out. You are too close to quit now. You know they are thinking of you too. Whatever differences there are can be worked out. All right. So, obviously, Spirit knows that you and someone else have your differences or have your history, but they're divinely connected to you in some way, and they are meant to be connected to you in some way. Whatever has been, obviously it can't be the same. It has to be better. It has to be different. But it can be worked out. All right. All right. And if you think about it, right, Crysta with the man, right? I forget his name, but the man with the cassette player, right? Na 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 na. Like, he started out as someone who was cutting down all the trees. And by the end of it, he was a completely different person. You know, knowing Crysta and seeing her evolution inspired him to change. And even though they were very different at the beginning of the movie, they were very much in sync and aligned by the end. So, insight, please, for secret codename Crysta. And those who are drawn to it in divine time. We've got the 8 of Wands. Six of Swords in the reverse. 4 of Wands. Yeah, Spirit is pinging you to go back. 2 of Swords reversed. And the Moon. All right, clarities, please. Justice. The Sun. The 3 of Pentacles, the 9 of Coin, and the 5 of Cups. Bottom of the deck is the King of Pentacles. Top is the Page of Swords. Okay. All right. So you are getting these intuitive downloads, these pings from Spirit about what is fair or what you deserve. The truth, right? You might have to seriously reconsider something or someone and bring your light there. Bring your light back to it, because you committed to a vision, right? You committed to a vision of what happily ever after looks like. And you are not blind to your sovereignty. The 9 of Pentacles is a pre-Empress card. You're clear about where your energy is. You're clear about your alignment. The illusion is depression or grief, that you would be sad or mourning something. I think you need to go back to beginner's mind when it comes to the mastery of a manifestation. Because the devil, the wounding, like you laid that to rest. You turned over a fresh beginning. And now you have a sacred soulmate who you're maybe looking at things very logically, thinking very, very logically, maybe communicating very matter of fact, but spiritually you might need to reconsider. Like, are you really going to get the result you're after? If you're lying to yourself and defending the lie about the judgment call that you've made, especially if it puts you in your mental prison and it's put you in a cycle of battling with other people in the nightmare, like the divine is trying to move you forward in a specific direction in order to close certain cycles. I've got Libran energy, Leo energy, Piscean energy. And I've got strong Taurian energy on this card. Got bulls everywhere. Like, why are you looking at the grand manifestation, right? The mastery of a manifestation. Why are you looking at it? Or rather, maybe more accurately, why are your eyes closed to it? Because you've got a wound about stability, right? Sacred soulmates, you've got a wound around stability. Maybe have a hard time believing in endurance, right? People who bring endurance and reliability and consistency to the table. If you thought you made your mind up about somebody, like maybe you're too different, right? You and said person are too different. Maybe you need to reconsider that. Maybe you need to reconsider that. I'm curious. Spirit, give me my astro dice. Sun, 11th house, Aquarius. You and this person could have a stronger, significant 11th house connection, Aquarius or Leo connection. You might have determined or fixed an idea that they can only be a friend. They might have their sun in the 11th house. The 11th house is the house of hopes and dreams and soul family. Whoever this person is, they are an ally to you deep in soul. They do unlock the dream. They do unlock the goal. especially if they light up your 11th house or your Aquarian energy. Might be super significant if they also have Libra, Leo, or Pisces or Taurus in the 11th house. Or if their sun sign is one of those signs. But you do need to go back and revisit it, right? That Six of Swords in the reverse with the Sun card. Where do they light up your chart? How does the synastry line up? Where does their sun land? What effect do they have on your 11th house of hopes and dreams? What's in there? You got to give somebody a second thought. Because I feel like with the Two of Swords in the reverse, with the Nine of Coins, like you are very clear. You are very clear on your own energy, your sovereignty, like you are on the path to receive. Spirit is giving you those intuitive pings that maybe this is the way, this is the balance, this is the justice, this is the harmony, this is what you deserve, this is what you've been asking for. The illusion that you would be unhappy. Like you wouldn't be unhappy. You would not be unhappy. Like the door is still open. The door is still open. Especially, you know, even with the moon card out there, they could have the moon in one of those signs or in that house. If not both, sun and moon, right? Because they're both out here. They might both be in the 11th house. Or be an Aquarius moon, right? Libra, Leo, Pisces, Taurus moon. Spirit does not want you to miss this. Spirit does not want you to miss this. I feel like whoever this individual is, like that's how you evolve into your final form, right? The Empress. Like Crysta starts out like the Nine of Coin, but she ends up being the Fae Queen. This person helps bring you into your final form, your high evolution. You know they're thinking of you too. I feel like you know who they are. Is it the person they're thinking of? Archangel Michael. Show me a clear back and forth for yes. Thank you. Stop. Show me a clear left to right for no. Thank you. Stop. Is this the person they're thinking of? Do they know who it is? Yeah. You know who it is. They're thinking about that person right now as they're listening to this reading. They know who it is. Yeah. But they're denying it. Like they're thinking of it, but they don't want to see it. Are they really truly afraid that they'll be unhappy? Yeah. But they do know this person holds everything that they really want. Yeah. Thank you. Stop. Are there any other questions I need to ask? No. Thank you. Stop. Archangel Michael, thank you in the highest. For you, we are eternally grateful. You know who this is. Don't write it off. Don't write it off. I think you'd be surprised just how much it works out. Even if you are super different right now, I don't think you will stay that way. I do think they are going to help you evolve big time. Their presence it feels monumental. So with that, secret code name Crysta. I have faith that you are going to align yourself and make the right decision. The door is wide open if you so choose to keep it wide open. Because it ain't closed yet. It ain't closed yet. All right. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the secret codename readings. Give me just a few minutes. I'm going to get all the timestamps, make sure they're accurate to the video. I'll get them in the description for you. And I will be back to do the candles, our intention candles for this moon. All right. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.